I'm Chris. I'm the founder of Autobrush. I am mostly here to talk about our newest clinical versus Quip. I'm the founder of Autobrush, but I'm the founder of Basis, which is a holding company it used to be of multiple brands, but we since consolidated them down to Autobrush, and it's been like that for like the last, maybe 4 or 5 years. Once we started filing for all the patents on what Autobrush is now is when we started to transition out of all the other businesses and focus here. Previously to that, I was a heavy marketer. We used to own a marketing agency, sort of an affiliate style, and moved into a sort of a brand incubator. And now we're in our building brands arc, but particularly just Autobrush. We were already operating lightly in the oral care space, which got me really curious about the toothbrush market in general. I was particularly interested in why nothing has changed. And so it was like a stick, which is a manual toothbrush, and then a vibrating one, which is, the electric toothbrush. It just hasn't changed in a really damn long time. So it's like, I just started to try to look and see if there's any innovation happening in the space. And there was like quite literally nothing in this space, which then got me into a weird patent search on what else was out there. I've ended up finding a graveyard of abandoned patents. That kind of gave me some confidence of like, I kind of have an idea. Actually, one day in the office, Corey and I was taping toothbrushes together. I was taping them together, and I'm like, what if this thing could just like brush all your teeth at the same time? Taped them together, started using them, started talking about, like, what if you could do this? And God, there were so many hard things in between that, but that was sort of the catalyst of the whole thing of like, why hasn't it changed? Started looking up stats of cavities, and then like I just really remember the kid statistic of the number one chronic disease in children is actually teeth decay. And it's like, what if it's such a big problem, why has nobody tried to fix it? So no, I'm not an engineer. I have no dental background. I really didn't even take care of my teeth all that good in the beginning, which is not great to admit, but no, I didn't have all of the ingredients to be an oral care founder, but I became really obsessed with the idea. So I just could keep talking about it over and over and over. But that's like kind of the quick and dirty version of Basis, which is the hat that I wear, the company that holds Autobrush. Autobrush itself, some of the thesis behind like how did I even get into this is like a lot of, I'm going to call it a little luck and a little curiosity. And then Autobrush in its current form has just been just obsession. Really having an idea, being able to fund it all the way through inception. And then, the version that we have now, the version that just went through the clinical versus Quip, has taken a tremendous amount of resources. So it is a different journey. It wasn't this like, oh, I have this huge problem, I want to go solve this shit for myself. It's like more like I was really curious about why no one else has solved this. And that was really interesting. And now it's really fun because you get to do a lot of firsts, things that have never happened. And that's like the piece that keeps me motivated now. Was it hard when I got it started? It was the hardest thing I've ever done by a long shot. I'm trying to think of the hardest part of the hard parts. I think I'm still in the version of the harder parts. And it's why we are still being really aggressive with clinicals, is that there's just a tremendous amount of doubt in the category. It's mainly poisoned by knockoffs, which look and act and talk like us. So I think it's hard to talk back to see like what was the hardest part of my hard parts. Like right now, I think is actually really hard because there's just a shitload of distrust in the entire category. Tons of people like, these don't work, this. It's like, this is why we completed that 4th clinical, but now we're about to start our 5th one in a couple weeks here, and why we will continue to do more next year too. So the main reason we wanted to do this live was to talk about the clinical results of us versus an electric toothbrush, which was like, at first it was like, oh, these don't work. And then you do one in clinical. It's like, oh shit, they kind of work. It's like, but do more clinicals. And then you go through 2 really big clinicals, which were used for, one proving safety and efficacy, but the ADA requires two really big clinicals that were pretty hard to carry out. But so we did those two clinicals, and you have to just be a manual toothbrush. It's like, when there's a lot of manual technique involved, it's not that hard to be a manual toothbrush. So the next piece of that skepticism was like, oh, but you can't be an electric toothbrush. And it's like, here we are now, going head to head against an electric toothbrush. And it was insane. It was insane. Those results have never existed. There is no, it's a really exciting time. So that's why we're here. The highlights of that was like, it was up to 3.1 times better in the whole mouth, up to 13 times better in the hard to reach areas, and 100% of all the participants have had better outcomes with an Autobrush versus the electric toothbrush, which is just like, it's insane. It's really insane. And we're really proud of it. So we're trying to like talk about that a little bit more. Why are dentists skeptical of 30-second brushing? Well, the main reason they're skeptical of it is that everybody has been taught that you're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. And that's supposed to be broken down into 30 seconds each quadrant. So if you broke your mouth into the 4 pieces, you are supposed to brush each of those quadrants for 30 seconds a piece. And the reality is just most people don't. And I think there's a stat with the ADA. It's somewhere in that 40 to 45 seconds is the actual average time that people brush their teeth. So it's like, if you broke that down, that's what? 10 to 12 seconds a quadrant. So then when you say, hey, you can brush your teeth in 30 seconds, and it kind of breaks the whole system. But if you're brushing all those quadrants at all the same time, which is what Autobrush's entire thesis is based on, you could do it. And so a lot of skepticism in the U shape, but a lot of skepticism in the 30 seconds. Craziest feedback I got from a customer. Oh my God. The craziest, there's so many versions of crazy. Usually related to persons with disabilities that are getting some independence back in their life, and the massive transformations that happen there. You go from not brushing at all to brushing, and then brushing really well is those feel very crazy to me, because in the beginning we didn't really totally know who the brush was going to be for, and seeing some of the use cases that we had no real idea that we were helping out early on, that was I'm an emotional person, so it's pretty holy shit, did I actually create something that people like? And you have all this self-internal doubt, and then you get a ton of people talking about how changed their life, and it's a fucking toothbrush, and it's but it's not just a toothbrush. Can you highlight the important parts of clinical studies? Pretty much half kids, half adults. It's a simple crossover study in clinical language. They'll brush with one brush, and then they'll brush with the other brush, and they get measured each time. Both populations now, the kids and adults, mainly because we're starting to see that people think we're just a kids brand, but we're not. The actual business is close to 50-50. So it's really important to show efficacy. It's oh, it's really good for kids, and kids are just really bad at brushing, and that's why you're such a good toothbrush. But it's no, that's not actually how that works. It's we're actually really slaying with the adults too. And so those are outside of the actual results of the study, which were insane, some of the details there are purposeful of really proving that it works for children. We don't measure for compliance, but all those people take those brushes back, they keep them, and they end up using them too, which is these little tidbits of the research projects that are really fucking fun. Is being a founder as cool as it sounds? It is. If you don't have a life at all, and you have a ton of time that you could spend on something and see it all the way through, it could be really cool, which is basically me. I'm sure there are other people that can manage their time and have a family and be founders too, but I spend a shitload of time on it, and I am still having fun. So it's hard to be nah, this isn't cool, because this is really cool to me. I have a lot of flexibility. I'm building something that is new to the world. I get to try out all these crazy ass ideas. I get to get feedback from people. I get to I don't know, doing something for the first time that's never existed is super sick. So that's my answer to that. If there's one thing I would want people to know about Autobrush, what would it be? I would want people to know that we are way different than the knockoffs that look like us, and it's really destroying the category more than I give it credit for. And it's like Amazon is flooded with knockoffs. TikTok is filled with crap. And these knockoffs all have silicone bristles, which have already been proven not to clean teeth at all. So it's like not only hurting all the people that get duped by it, it kills all the reputation of, like, imagine you get one of those, you go to the dentist like, dude, this thing sucks. It's like, you're crazy about this. And it's like, okay, it's over then. You know, that dentist is never open to trying it, that consumer's never trying it, and then that consumer tells all their people that they're like, dude, do not, just, stay away from this whole category. It's like that network effect is really, really, really brutal. So that's honestly the one thing I would want to know. Is I've talked a bunch of smack about knockoffs and that Autobrush. We spent a lot of time making it right and doing it right. So I would want people to know that. But this is a company that we are currently in a lawsuit against. This is one of the main knockoffs, but they all pretty much look and act and talk the same. They just changed the name on this. Like all of the knockoffs, they just changed this name and just rinse and repeat. There's a kid's version of it. I don't have it here, but all of these are the damn same. I've never really opened this, but let's see what this thing looks like. Oh, this is a kid's brush. Okay. This is a knockoff, which is interesting because we own a lot of patents on this actual design. This exact design we own a patent on, but the brush head is the main thing here. And these brush heads are much different. Look at this, it's pretty cool. Much, much, much different than ours. I don't know if my camera's good enough, but you might get some like bristle angle in there. Is that working? I don't know. Maybe you can tell that these are nylon bristles. I don't think it's good enough, but maybe you could tell that these are just like not bristles at all. Come on, baby. All right, maybe. No. Okay, well, all of the knockoffs look similar. They changed this little body. We have patents on literally this entire thing. That's why we're suing these people. So we have patents on the body and patents on this brush head. But the brush head primarily is the piece that like makes this U-shaped thing work. And these things just don't work at all. So, but knockoffs are just plagued the whole thing. Like you could go on TikTok shops right now and there's just a shitload of things that end up looking like us and talking like us. They even end up using, like, in rare cases, they'll actually take the ADA logo and put it next to their knockoff. They'll use all of our clinical language. They'll literally steal everything and just put their names. So there's no shame, which is interesting. But how long have you been working on perfecting this brush? Such a long time. Really 5 years. I filed for the patents in 19, I think. So in 19, I was finished. I was finished with them. I had to get them to market. I had to produce a lot. I ended up patenting the machines that make the brush heads, and like I had to go through a whole machine thing because those machines didn't exist either. But yeah, it's been just about five years of doing it. I'm probably in the 10th version of this brush head. And versions are just like, major and minor improvements along the way. My newer ones will probably hit at the end of the year and then at the beginning of next year. But we have the most anticipated launches we've had in years. So I'm really juiced up about that. What do you say to people who are skeptical about trying Autobrush? Okay, if you're skeptical of trying it and you're not like a science person and the clinical data doesn't really matter to you, I would say you're probably not brushing right, because most of us are not, and then we're not brushing for the appropriate amount of time. That if you care about your health at all, your mouth is the gateway to your body. So if you don't take care of your mouth, don't be surprised if you get sick or stay sick and stuff like that. There's a lot of correlation to taking care of your mouth to better overall health. So that would be my thing. If you care about the data, like we have a ton of it, like a ton of it, both on plaque removal, but also gingivitis. So I would say that. If you are skeptical of a U-shaped toothbrush in general, like say you're like, oh, you get it, you get the concept, you brush all your teeth at the same time, but you don't, you're just skeptical in general. It's like, we just give you your money back. Like if it doesn't work, or it doesn't work for you, like it does, if it's uncomfortable or whatever it might be, Like there's definitely people, like we have 6 sizes, right? So there is a chance that it doesn't fit your mouth perfectly, and we'll give you your money back for whatever the hell you buy. And if you're not satisfied, so it's just a bottom line. Like there's just no really risk right now. You could buy it right this second. You could end up using it right now after this, and then later be like, you know what, I don't like it, or it doesn't work for me, or whatever it is, and then you will get your money back that day too. It depends on when you contact us, but you will get your money back, and then it will be over. So it's like there is no real risk involved in just giving it a shot. And it's like I get the price point too. We hear it a lot, right? It's not easy to make some. Like these things have just never existed before. So there isn't like a robust supply chain. There are no like tons of these factories. There are nothing out there that you just like go tap into, and then you could just all of a sudden get all these efficiencies in supply chain and then pass them back to consumer. It's like we need to make money so we could pay our people, but then so we could keep investing in these clinicals and all the things that we do to improve the brand and the product. So it's like there's a little push and shove there. It's like, well, if we don't make any money, then, how the hell does it take care of the people that take care of it? And how the hell do we keep pouring into innovation? So it's like, there is a little bit there. And I think eventually as the supply chain gets more robust, but also as our business in general gets bigger, we'll be able to, force suppliers to give us better margins pretty much, so that we could end up lowering it. My friend Ari that works with us is really passionate about trying to make it affordable, like super affordable for a family of 4. And so like internally, we're always thinking about like the family of 4, like how do they stay Autobrush people forever? And, the main way is to just make it as affordable as possible. And it's like, there's no use in having a wonderful toothbrush if no one can get it. But it's just not there yet. Like I would love, if I could cut the price in half right now and still have the same business, we would do that. It's just not really possible to do that. What was my inspiration of the Autobrush? Backwards way. I'm not an engineer and I'm not a dentist, and I mostly sucked at taking care of my teeth. So all 3 of those things would probably put me on like the opposite side of the spectrum for a person to create a new style toothbrush. But I actually think it kind of positioned me pretty well, because I just questioned all the normal stuff. Like all things I ended up questioning. So when I think back on it, it's like, oh shit, I was deficient in all the things that would have made me the ideal founder for this brand. But since I didn't have them, I had to go get all those answers. And there was a whole lot of whys, a whole lot of like reaching out to clinicians, reaching out to dentists. We had wonderful consultants. We have one still now, Sylvia, and it's like, she just helped me through all this. But the inspiration was really, we were already working a little bit in the oral care space with toothpaste, which got me interested in like, well, if I could sell toothpaste and get in the toothpaste game, why couldn't I, what does the toothbrush landscape look like? And then I got really interested in like, it's I call it a stick, but a manual toothbrush, and then a vibrating toothbrush, the electric toothbrush. And it's like, there was nothing, literally nothing for God knows how long. So that was like the main, like, ooh, this would be really interesting. Why hasn't this changed? You realize along the way why it didn't change. It's like, it's hard as hell. It's hard as hell. Especially when you're doing something the first time. There was just nowhere to go look at something, or there's no one to go talk to. There's nothing. So you're just doing things all from scratch. It's like, it's actually kind of crazy now when I think about it. But at the time, our previous business was super successful. So we had a lot of resources to keep trying. And I'm really proud that we're still entirely bootstrapped. We have some like real competitors now, which is actually kind of nice, because they'll help drown out all the knockoffs. And if those products work, it's just a rising tide for all of us. Do you think going to retail would solve some of the skepticism? No, I don't. I think more proof solves this problem. More proof of Autobrush and more proof that the other ones don't work, I think, are the 2 things. And time. Do people care about the clinicals or not? But people obviously care. Like our business, every time we do a clinical and you give it some time to get some momentum, you get some time to distribute it, you get some people like interested in it, et cetera, et cetera. You do, the business does better. There's no doubt about it. But I think going heads up versus an electric toothbrush was one of our main skepticisms, even in a post ADA world where it's like, okay, you beat a manual toothbrush, but you'll never do this. And it's like, there's going to be a new version of you'll never be able to do this. And I'm kind of waiting for that new version, but it is the stamp of the dental world. It is, honestly. The ADA is, I kind of call them like the government for teeth. It's kind of like an appropriate thing, but they're pretty pleasant to work with. And I'm glad that they're there. I wish there was a body that regulated all the stuff that doesn't work, because that would be a whole lot easier, honestly. We're about to do a lot of more new firsts that have been brewing for so damn long. It's all coming together. Some cool things I'm expecting in 2026, is going to be my favorite year for sure. Well, my new favorite year. I just don't I feel like I just want to talk all about it, but I can't talk about it all. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 mega major things, mega major, so major that 3 of them could be their own things by them, own brands or own businesses by themselves. By the time we release it, it'll be 2 years in the making.